Well, the election is now over in the United States. What now? We're going to talk about it today. Stay tuned. All right, and welcome to this week's edition of Living Hope Today. So glad to have you along with us for this very special program. And we're glad that you've tuned in, no matter where you are in the United States, Canada, or around the world. We are glad to have you tune into this week's program. I want to tell you real briefly to take a moment here for all of our Facebook friends to make sure that you hit the Facebook like, comment, and share. If you'll do that, we'd love to hear from you. And that way also on Facebook, you'll know exactly when it's coming, when we're on the air, and so on. So I hope you'll do that. And then last week, if any of you saw it, we didn't really announce it. Well, we did an announcement on one of the promos that we did for YouTube. Well, we are now on YouTube on a regular basis. And this is just our second program that we've done now that is going over YouTube. So we're simulcasting to Facebook and YouTube, so that you're getting the same programs. They're both on Thursdays. You can watch them beginning at 6 a.m. East Coast time, Eastern time. So 5 o'clock Oklahoma or Central time. You can figure it out from there. But anyway, we are on YouTube now. So a lot of you folks that are watching YouTube, or you know of somebody that maybe doesn't even have a Facebook account. YouTube, a lot of people already have that. So you can watch YouTube and get this program now at AICTV.org. I'm going to have it flashing up here. You'll see all the information about our places for Facebook, AIC, and our Twitter page. So we hope that you'll go there and do that. And on on YouTube, you remember you can hit the buttons for to like, to comment, or subscribe. That's a little different than probably what Facebook is, but you can hit the button for subscribe, hit that. Then the important thing that we want you to do, when you hit subscribe, I want you to go over and you'll see that bell. Click on that bell. That will notify you when the program will air, or any program that we produce on YouTube. It will show up on there. So I hope you'll do that. Hit those buttons, the like, comment, and subscribe button, and then hit the bell just to get the notifications so you'll know when we're on. Some people always forget, say, well, we're not on, and especially since YouTube is brand new at this time. So I hope you'll plan to do that. Well, on today's program, before we get started, I'll just tell you real briefly about our message today. We're doing on the topic, the election is over, now what? Well, just this past Tuesday, the United States, they went to vote from local races in our cities with mayors and all sorts of leaders in our cities and communities. And then you talk about our state, our governors, different positions that will be going on, mayors, all sorts of things. Then nationally, it makes a difference because the voting that happened Tuesday is for you could shift the leadership in Washington as far as that goes. So a lot went on. And so we're still kind of waiting on all these votes to hear. We kind of have a good idea, but I think we're still waiting on some of the things to come in. But a lot of people say, well, we're done with that now. We've been listening for years about the voting and who to vote for. And now that part of it is over with until another 2 years from now. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about that and what we as Christians need to do. Now, I think I sent something out on our Facebook page about praying for our leadership, or praying that you pray for who you vote for. Well, now, I don't know if your candidate got into office or not, but the one thing that we as Christians can do is pray for whoever's in leadership, whoever it is, and pray for them. And let's just trust the Lord that He has everything under control. He's taking care of it all. In fact, I was talking, my grandson is in the studio today, And we were talking about it at lunch today. And we were talking about how voting and all these different things what you have to do and everything that's going through it. Well, you know what? Here we are. We're in it. And so I hope that you'll take time to pray for our leaders that we have elected there. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we do, let's get started with some great gospel music. It's a good friend of ours, a Assiniboine Indian from way up in Poplar, Montana. He used to travel with us, played guitar in our band for many years with our family, and he's now a pastor in Poplar, Montana on the Fort Peck Indian Reservation. It's Jay Cummings. I want you to listen, sing this song for us, a song that he wrote as well, and then we'll be right back with the devotions.
Trust where everyone fails you, Jesus. Oh, you can count on Him. Who will help you stand when you get knocked down? God will. Oh, yeah. Do you believe in Jesus? Do you believe in His word? I do. I really do. I stand on His promises. I call out His name. I do. I stand on His promises. I call out His name. I do. I stand on His promises. I call out His name. I do.
All right, I hope you enjoyed that great song by our friend Jay Cummins from way up in the Fort Peck Reservation in Montana. Well, today we're going to talk about something that just happened the other day, and that was our elections in this country, in the United States. Now, those of you that are watching elsewhere, you may have not had elections, but in the United States, this has been a big deal because this changes a lot of things for a lot of people. So that's what it's all about, is change. People want change. If they want to change in a governor, well, they're going to make a change. If they want to change in a mayor or a judicial person in the Justice Department, they'll do that locally. It goes all the way right down to our state school superintendents here in Oklahoma that is they're talking about. So there's a lot. But nationally, it goes to our Congress and talking about making leadership change there. And the balance could be changed. So that's what we're going to talk about. But today, we are talking about something that in the elections that now that it's over, now what? What are we supposed to do? You know, a decision has been made, or we'll know the final probably today or tomorrow, by this weekend possibly. And we, one of the main reasons that we even vote in the first place is to make a change, to seek change. Says we know that maybe it's time for new leadership. We think it's time for new leadership, whether it's a senator or whoever it may be. So we go to the voting booth to make that type of change and to bring about change and maybe even a new hope for us in our state and our counties and our country. That's kind of what they're hoping for the future. But that sort of stuff, when you make a change like that, just because you're making a vote for a new person, it doesn't save us. It doesn't always happen. Now, I think we've seen that a lot happen in the past in a way it's gone. In 2 more years from now, on the second week of November, 2 years from now, we'll be doing this again. We'll be voting. And so we'll be making a vote in the United States for a new president and other elected leaders. So similar conversations about this and change is what we do around this time of the year when we are in this era where we're making new political changes. One lie we often believe when we focus on politics is that a new leadership will be the solution to very difficult issues in our country, no matter what it may be, and the world, even the world, when we do a presidential election. And it's not wrong to hope for change. There's nothing wrong with that. But we need to see that injustices or corruption, all those things are changing. We don't have it anymore. And that's what we're hoping that this election will do. Well, no matter what happens in this election, Jesus is our hope. It's not man. It's not the person we elected necessarily. Jesus is our hope. As Christians, we need to understand that only Jesus can give the hope for our country and for our communities that man cannot give. We may not know what the future holds for our nation, but God does. He knows all about it. He knows everything there is. In fact, when we read this, I want you to look at this. In Psalms 39:7, it says, David, the psalmist, who asked the question, he said, "And so, Lord, where do I put my hope?" And the answer was, "My only hope is in you." Yes, political leaders, enactment of new laws and policies and different things like this, may be the change people were looking for. But I like the recent statement that I read. I found this just recently. In fact, right before the elections this past week, I saw this. So take a look at this. It says, real change doesn't come from politics or governments, but from Jesus transforming people with his grace and truth. Now, that'll hit you as a Christian right there, because that is the true thing that can happen. God changes people. He changes people. Now, answering that question where I said the election is now over, now what? That came with a big question. Now what? Well, one choice has always, that God always supports, is that we pray for our leaders. that we uphold them in prayer. And take a look at this verse in Romans Romans 13, 1 through 8. The Bible clearly reminds us that we are called to obey our governing authorities. Now, I want you to read it. I'm not going to read all that, but I want you to read that because Romans 13, 1 through 8, all those verses in there, those 8 verses, talks about that. And that is so important right now in this situation that we are in. Now, if it could be some of you that are watching right now, that may have voted for our government officials or other state or local leadership, you may be unhappy with the choice for our nation. But we must remember, God is in control. I can remember several years ago when President Trump was voted in. I think I was on the air at that time. We had talked about it, and there were so many people who were disappointed. But 4 years before that, or 8 years before that, was President Obama in our country that became the president. And people were disappointed with that too. They wondered what was going to happen to our nation. And these are things that can actually we start thinking about. But our answer to now what is we need to pray. And I tell you, if we would pray for the salvation of our leaders, not only praying for them to give them wisdom, to give them good frame of mind of what they need to do, what they need to, how to lead our country. But wouldn't it be wonderful if some of our leaders in position came to know Christ and relied on Him for all the things that we do, all the things that we go through? Well, I pray that God will speak to them anyway and give them wisdom as they lead, because that's really what they need. It lines up with God's heart and His people and the issues of the day. So regular, consistent prayer is the key you possess for God's intervention and direction for our nation. Don't forget that. Your prayer means a lot. It can change things. Yes, God has a plan, but your prayer can change things too and help you even identify with what's going on. So I hope you always remember that. You know, politics will never save the world because it just can't. It cannot. No man can. But God knew our world needed saving long before any human government was created. He knew there needed to bring change. He knew these things. Then His death on the cross and His resurrection. Jesus showed us that He is our hope for salvation. That is clear for us. No economic policy, political agenda, or military power can bring peace in this world like God can. Only He can do that. Let us be found faithful in respect, obedience, honor, and most of all, our prayers for our nation and our leaders. It will go a long way. I hope you'll do that. This week, I hope you'll join us next week for our broadcast. And right now, I want you to make sure you listen to some good friends of ours, the Katinas. They're from the Samoan Islands in the South Pacific, and they're going to sing a song. We videotaped them a while back. But the Katinas are going to sing a song called God is So Good. I hope you join us next week. We'll look for you then.
God is so good. God is so good. God is so good. He's so good to me. Come on, you sing. God mercy never fails me. All my days I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire in darkest nights. You are close like no other. I've known you as a father. I've known you as a friend. I have lived in the goodness of God. Everybody, you say. All my life you have been faithful. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love this lyric right here. Would you sing it with me? Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Oh yeah. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I surrender now. I give you everything. Talking about your goodness. Your goodness is running after, and your mercy, it's running after me. Here we go, say. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I surrender now. I give you everything. Yeah. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. All my life you have been faithful. Thank you, Jesus. And all my life you have been so, so good. Oh, with every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. Sing it with the angels. I will sing. Of the goodness